Shalom, shalom, Yasharala. I hope all is well. I got some really important intel to share with you this morning. Before I play a little bit of this video from this guy named Logic Before Authority, I'm sure you guys know about him. I want to just say that before I watched that video, this video, I was sitting here pondering like I often do, every day. I'm just puzzled that no one seems to give heed to these warnings. And before I watched this video, I was reminded of some things that the Messiah says, and it answered that question for me, and it more than likely can answer a lot of questions for you. I'm going to play this. I don't know if it's going to work, if they're going to allow me to share this video on here, on my video. I don't know. The guy doesn't have to worry, I guess, because I'm not going to make any money. There's no way I could make any money off of this, and I wouldn't take a dime for it, because that would negate everything I'm trying to do. So watch a little bit of this. Trust me when I tell you, you're going to want to turn your ears and your eyes on and watch this. Try and prove me wrong. You can't.
That can see.
Logic before authority.
There's so many of them that all point out to the date of September the 23rd for the event. So various movies, there's so many of them, and here's some of them.
So my response then continues to be what I believe today, which is Russia's actions are a problem. They don't pose the #1 national security threat to the United States. I continue to be much more concerned when it comes to our security with the prospect of a nuclear weapon going off in Manhattan. Continue to be much more concerned when it comes to our security with the prospect of a nuclear weapon going off in Manhattan.
In a 1990 Playboy interview, Trump is quoted as saying, "I think of the future, but I refuse to paint it. Anything can happen, but I often think of nuclear war. I've always thought about the issue of nuclear war. It's a very important element in my thought process. It's the ultimate catastrophe, the biggest problem this world has. And nobody's focusing on the nuts and bolts of it. It's a little like sickness. People don't believe they're going to get sick until they do. Nobody wants to talk about it. I believe the greatest of all stupidities is people believing it will never happen, because everybody knows how destructive it will be. So nobody uses weapons. What bullshit."
Of course, as much as Trump loves rallies, he's got a new way to communicate with you, because this afternoon at 2:18 p.m. Eastern Time, Americans nationwide received an alert on their cell phones from President Trump. Why? Is there really an emergency so big that everyone in America, people in Hawaii, Florida, Maine, New Mexico, have to hear about it at the exact same time? What is that big?
Now, if you were someone, and you might even be someone who has watched me for a long time, who has heard some of the things I've been saying, or whoever. If at the beginning, when it was showing the cubes and it was saying there was 9 cubes with letters and 2, if you thought that was a bit of a stretch, I did too. I hate stretches. I'm in the business of truth. If you thought that right away, and you said, "Oh," and you may turn the channel off, or you really wasn't paying no attention because you thought I was going to show something that was a stretch, that's good. That's good that you did that. Because just like that, my whole message, everything I do, and I've been saying this, it's built that way. It's built to where at first glance, at first sight, It's rough around the edges. It's not going to tickle your ears. I don't tickle ears. I drop kick you in your ear. I've always done that. And if you've been around, you should know that I'm not trying to make a stretch out of anything. So those who thought that in the beginning, if you turn the channel or you didn't turn your ears on, you didn't believe me when I told you to turn your ears on, and you didn't wait, and you weren't ready for the real truth regarding the September 23rd, the apple and the honey and the rabbit and all that stuff. If you didn't do that, that's good. That's how the Most High sifts out the posers. Because if you've been around me long enough, if you've been listening, if you're really bowdy, you would have said, well, let's give it a chance here. He's not trying to stretch something and make something fit, make a square peg fit into a round hole. You should know that. But it might be, it probably is. If you did that, if you're someone that's listening to my voice right now and you did believe I was trying to make a stretch and you didn't wait, and you got to go back now and rewatch it so you can see the real truth about the 923 and the apple and the honey and the rabbit and all that stuff. If you got to do that, the reason that you're even in that predicament is going to be given to you right now if you turn your ears on and you listen to what the Messiah is about to tell you. And before I get to that, let's talk about the rabbit and the apple and the honey and all that stuff. If you're like me, I've been watching I Pet Goat for a long time, and I've tried to decode that scene where them children are sitting there and that girl has the apple in her hand and the apple splits in half and it turns into a lotus flower and Obama starts to sweat. I've been trying to understand what that means for years. And that guy right there, Logic Before Authority, or whoever it was that decoded that, he figured it out. That's exactly what it's saying. And if you watch the rest of it, I'm not going to play, there's even more proof and confirmation to that in the rest of this video. I'm not going to play it. Go watch it. Now, I've been saying that something like that's going to happen, that Russia and China, the men from the East, are coming here. I've been saying this to you. You should already know. You probably do know. You probably think about it a lot. You probably often ponder, consider what it is, what's going to happen, and what you're going to do, all these things. You probably do. Well, I got some news for you. And it comes from Messiah. But before I do, just pay it. Look at the screen right now. I always wondered why that scorpion tail was there. I thought that it was the jabs for years. You see that scorpion tail to the left of the center of the screen, to the left of the sun? That big scorpion tail right there? I'm here to tell you that is regarding what I've been talking about. It's the tail of the locust that consumes. That's why that sun right there, it's shooting out fire, just like the word's been telling us. It knocks down that pyramid. It's revealing the Messiah. It's revealing the truth. It's revealing the man of lawlessness there standing in that boat. And you might see all that. You might see all that stuff. But the word tells us that it's not just about seeing and believing. Hey, you have probably quoted yourself the scripture where he says, even the demons believe. It's not about that. You know, I've often talked about me being single and all these things, about you know, I've asked the question, like, why is it that I'm single, whatever. In the last few videos, just recently, I've talked about the marriage of the lamb, the marriage of the lamb, and somewhere I'm trying to think where it is. I read it, and I know you've probably read this too. It's in here, and we'll find it. Trust me, you need to understand this message. I'm not perfect. I'm like I just explained to you. I'm rough around the edges. I don't tickle shit. The fact that you want your ears to be tickled should tell you everything you need to know about yourself. The fact that you need perfection handed to you on a silver platter and told exactly what to do. But even if you are told what to do, the question is, will you act on that information? Right here. 26, verse 26, Luke 14. He said, if anyone comes to me and does not hate his father and mother and wife and children and brothers and sisters and his own life too, he is unable to be my taught one. Taught one. Maybe you're okay with not being taught by the Messiah. Maybe you are. But here's one little fact. Here's the reality for you. You ain't going to live unless you are a taught one of Messiah. He said that you can't come and be his taught one unless you hate all them people, your family, everything you know. He doesn't mean to hate them with hatred in your heart. It's the same principle that I've been telling you. When he went to Peter and them in the boat, he said, come with me, I'll make you fishers of men. When in chapter 14 of Revelations, it says, right after it talks about the mark in chapter 13, at the end of chapter 13, it goes to 14 and it says, and then I saw a lamb, the lamb, standing on Mount Sinai with 144,000 having his father's name written on their foreheads, standing in Mount Sion. Now, I don't know how you see all these things going down. I don't know how you see what you think is going to go down. I don't know how you see it going down, or how you figure it's all going to work out. I know most of you, if not all of you, don't consider that you actually have to go to the set apart mountain. Maybe it is that you consider that you can stay wherever you are, and you're going to stay there because you have family, you have a husband, you have a wife, you got children, a job, and all these things, and that's what comes first. So you're married. You're married. You already have a master. Right here in this chapter and other chapters I've been reading to y'all, it says, and I've been saying this, it says that you cannot enter the rain unless you have the faith of a little child, of little children. You cannot enter the rain. The story about the 10 virgins, I want you to consider this. There's 10 virgins, right? But 5 are wise and 5 are foolish. Most people think that they are considered a wise virgin as long as they have cleaned up somewhat their garments and they've threw out a few sins, and they're good people and they forgive and they don't lie, they're keeping the feast, whatever it is that they figure they do. They figure all that they do makes them a wise virgin. And the foolish virgins are people who still live in sin. But if that was the case, he wouldn't have called all 10 of them virgins. The 5 foolish virgins weren't ready, weren't looking for the coming of the bridegroom. And key words here, they didn't go out to meet him. They were just 5 virgins laying in their beds, slumbering, not giving any thought to the coming of the bridegroom until he came and went. And then what happens? They find themselves outside, knocking at the door and pleading with the bridegroom. They say, you taught in our streets, we performed miracles, we cast out demons in your name, we did all these things, let us in. And he's going to say, get away from me. I don't know you, nor do I know where you are from. When I came, you weren't here. You didn't come out to meet me. It says those 5 foolish virgins had lamps. They just didn't keep them trimmed. That means those are Torah observant people. But they were asleep. They weren't watching. They didn't go out to meet him. If returning to the land, if making a bold decision by choosing to be married to the Most High and taking action like a little child to walk, to go out to meet him. If that wasn't required of you, you must be saying that you're better than those who were enslaved in Egypt and Mitzrayim. You must believe that you're better than Moshe, and Aaron, and all them people, and Joshua, Caleb, who had to trust in the Most High and walk out into the wilderness to a land he swore to give our fathers. If making that journey, if taking those steps, trusting in the Most High that he will feed you and clothe you and protect you, if those actions weren't required and we could all just sit wherever we are and not really do anything other than maybe quit the holidays or say the name, which is great. But if that's all we had to do, they could have did that in Egypt. He wouldn't have told us in his word over and over and over and over again that in the last days he will draw us out one by one back to Jerusalem, to the set apart place. If all you had to do was claim to be a Hebrew Israelite or not celebrate Christmas or not use blasphemous names, if that's all you had to do, that's all those people back then would have had to do. They wouldn't have had to walk through the wilderness. They wouldn't have had to go and defeat giants, all the Amorites and Jebusites and all the things they did. Unless it's just they weren't as good a people as y'all are. The only way you could justify, you could claim that to be the truth, is if you can prove that you're better people than they were. You know that's not true. We just seen how Messiah said in that parable, he said, who of you are going to be okay with your servants, your plowmen and your shepherds, that when they've done what I commanded them, to come in and set their butt down at the feast without going and preparing for the feast? He says, I think not. He's not okay with that. The reason it says they're maidens is because they're not married to anyone or anything besides Yahuwah. That's who they're married to. That's why I'm single. If I would have been married. I couldn't have just picked up and left and came searching for the set apart place and find it like I have. I couldn't have if I had anything holding me back. That's why in one of these chapters, the rabbis and them, they asked him, they try to put him on the spot to try to catch him up. They said, if a man is married and they don't have kids and he dies, and she marries his brother and he dies and none of them have kids, or whatever, and then after the resurrection, whose wife will she be? And he said, neither. Because after the resurrection, after it's all said and done, no one will be given in marriage, nor will anyone be marrying anyone. They'll be like the messengers, like the angels. You ever wondered why it said that? I know you've thought about, well, if me and my husband make it through to the other side, will we be still in a marriage relationship? Like, just think about it for a second. What have you thought? What's been some of your thoughts? I'll tell you a few of mine. I've thought, well, will we not have sexual organs anymore? Will there not be sex anymore? Will we not be in love or romantic anymore? I've thought all kinds of things when I've read that what I just quoted about the husband and the wife, and who will she belong to after the resurrection. I'm going to tell you why it is those people who make it will not be married, nor will they be given in marriage. They'll be like the messengers, because they won't be married before they get there. Are you going to tell me that the Messiah would and the Most High would break a union up? They would break a marriage up after this is all over with? And what, you're just gonna just magically not care about being married to a person anymore? No. It's the same principle and concept with all the other descriptions. It matches all the other descriptions of those who make it. They're the poor and needy. They're the crushed in spirit, the brokenhearted, the lonely. That's why there won't be anyone married or getting married. Because you ain't going to make it unless you're married to the Most High, to the Lamb. That's why it's called the wedding supper of the Lamb, of the truth. Those are the people who follow the Lamb, the truth, the word of the Most High, wherever He leads them. Wherever He leads them. Y'all only will allow Him to lead you so far. There's a line you've drawn in the sand. You've told Him loud and clear, you can't get no louder. I'm not willing to go that far for you. And if your rebuttal to that is, well, I don't believe that that's where the set apart place is. I don't believe that I have to go. That's you drawing your line right there. Because if you were willing to go the distance, you wouldn't stop right there. You would say, let's see. Let's go study this word to see if that's what it says. That's why I always say, prove me wrong. If you're someone who thought I was making a stretch at the beginning of that video, you're probably someone, like a lot of people, when you hear me say, prove me wrong, you won't because you can't. You probably are someone who thinks, wow, he's arrogant. He thinks he's right about everything. No, because truth is my business, I'll tell you the truth. There's only one reason I say that. And every time I say it, it's because of this one reason. And that is that I hope you do come and try to prove me wrong, so you'll see the truth. I don't say it because I want you to think I'm an arrogant asshole who thinks he knows everything. That's never crossed my mind. It crosses my mind every time that you're going to think that, but I can't help what you think. I can't make decisions based on on being afraid of what you're going to think. I'm hoping that it entices one of you to say, I'm going to prove him wrong. But no one has. There's a couple of you that know that this is the set apart place, and that one over there is a imposter. It's a counterfeit replica. But where is your action? That guy, he cracked the code in that I Pet Goat movie when it comes to the Apple and all that stuff. So I'm not gonna say and try to make predictions like I can tell you when something's going to happen. But I'm pretty sure that anyone who's listening to this, you probably you feel, you're like me, you know something's about to happen. You probably can't see it going too much longer before something happens. You see the signs. You see the wall that we're barreling towards with no brakes. You see it. But what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Is it your opinion? Do you believe that, well, if one does land in Manhattan and I'm in West Virginia or Florida or Illinois or Minnesota, I can move so and so many miles to the west or to the east or whatever, and I'll be okay? No, that's just more proof that you're not willing to let the word, the truth, the Lamb lead you where you need to be led to. Because if you did, you would have turned your ears on all the times that I have shown you in the Word where it says that everything around the set apart place is going to come crashing down. It's going to be destroyed by the Most High in His wrath. If you would have had your ears on when you read, if you were hungry and you were willing to be led by the Lamb, you would be in that Word and you'd see it like I do. You'd see that there is no other place of refuge. And the door will be shut. How that looks for you, I can't say. I don't want to find out. Could it be that when the bomb drops, you get blown to smithereens? Could that be your door being shut? Or could it be that you're not at ground zero, but you fall sick to radiation and you're 1,000 miles away from ground zero, and The interstates and the highways are clogged up, and it's like The Walking Dead, and you try to walk to the set apart place, because at that time, after the bombs have dropped, you realize, oh crap, I have to go to the set apart place. Could it be that you just die a few miles down the road after you begin to make that journey? Could that be? It's the exact same thing as those 5 foolish virgins who weren't ready, and they didn't come out to meet the bridegroom. They found themselves knocking at the door. Knocking at the door. It's all in His Word, Mishpachah. It is. You know, I could go on and start talking about something else and drop this subject, but what else is there to talk about? Can you answer that question? Give me one good thing, one good reason why I should not talk about the place of refuge and talk about something else. Give me one good reason. And if you still want to believe that you don't have to go, but you will get the reward, you don't have to make any leap, that you're better than those people that Moses and Aaron and Yahuwah led out of Egypt back in the day. If you believe you're better than them, and you think you don't have to have a childlike faith, go ahead and tell us, instead of beating around the bush, instead of pussyfooting around, go ahead and tell us that you don't believe what the Messiah said. You don't believe what the Most High has told us. You don't believe His Word. You believe the word that you want to believe. Go ahead and tell us that you're someone who says you love your brother and your sister, but you don't want to listen to the things that someone is telling you. You ain't willing to even come and talk to them about it. And I can tell you why. I can tell you. It's for the same reason that the Messiah said right here, if anyone comes to me and does not hate his father and mother and wife and children, brothers and sisters, and his own life too, he's unable to be my taught one. In other places, he says he's unable to enter the reign. You cannot. Because you're married to something else or someone else. You won't consider all the things, all the times in the Word where it tells you have to go to the land, the set apart land. You won't consider that because you think it's crazy, or you don't want someone to think that you're crazy, or even if that's true, you can't do nothing about it because you got to go to work today. Or you can't just leave your family, or your friends, your house. So what you're saying is you're better than Peter was, or you're better than the other buddies of the Messiah, or that you're better than the Messiah. The Messiah had to come down to earth and get brutally murdered for this, for you. But you, on the other hand, you get to sit at home on your leather couch or recliner in the air conditioning and watch TikTok. It's a shame. It's a shame when you consider all these things. And it's why I've pondered every day. What can I do? What can I say? It's a miracle. It's a blessing from the Most High that I've went through breakups and I've had my family do me the way they have. It hasn't made me hate them, but compared to following the Lamb, they've meant absolutely nothing to me when it comes to me following this truth. I know some of you like to believe that I'm just crazy and that that I'm playing with a few cards shy of a full deck, and that's why I'm willing to say the things I say. No. That's too bad that you feel that way. I'll go ahead and tell you, in case you haven't just figured this out, if you're someone who just went through a breakup, or if you've been in a relationship or something and you know that you should have left a long time ago, and you're stuck in a toxic relationship where you're being mistreated or whatever it is, I'll go ahead and tell you in case you haven't realized this. It's probably the blessing, the miracle that you need in order to live. Because if you're married, if your wife would laugh at you and file for divorce if you told her you wanted to pick up the kids and move to the set apart place, if that's the case, you're more than likely you're not going to leave. You're not going to say, well, you're not going to pack your bags and be standing at the door one day or in the driveway in the car saying, well, see ya. You're not going to. It's not going to happen. You're married already. If you have a wonderful job and you're making bank, and you finally got it, and after all these years you finally got the house you want or whatever it is, you're not going to walk away from that. You can't go to the wedding supper and get married to the Lamb while being married to someone else. You cannot do it. What do you think? Is this another fantasy thought that you've had that you can, it's just like a wedding that you've went to in the past, like that your husband don't really want to go to, and it's really horrible that he has to go, and he just kind of sits in the car or sits on the sidelines while you're out having fun, and you're like, it'll just a couple more hours, honey, and we'll go home. Is that how you've pictured the wedding supper of the Lamb? No. The wedding supper is between the Lamb and the bride. That means if you believe you're the bride, you're gonna come down the aisle in your wedding dress, and you will go to the altar, however it is, and you will make your vows. You're gonna make your commitment. You're not going to be standing there looking back at your wife or your kids or your husband and saying, just hold on, babe. I'm getting married to the Lamb right now. That's not how it works. If you're someone who recently found yourself alone or betrayed or stranded or whatever the case may be, you should count yourself as blessed, because you're probably like I was. You could leave and no one really will even notice you're gone. You could speak the truth right from the word of the Most High, and most will laugh at it and won't consider it, so it really don't matter what you say or do. Who is it that you have to impress? I do have a pretty strong feeling now that this is a stretch, and I'm not telling you that I claim to know when something like that's going to happen, like the things falling. But I do have a decent amount of evidence that tells me that it's probably going to happen this winter, or definitely in 2024. And don't consider yourself to be someone that's better than anyone else. Don't be someone that believes they could, if you would have been in Egypt when the Passover happened, and the angel of death passed over, and the next morning they had to have their bags packed and they had to boot, scoot, and boogie on out of there, out into the wilderness. Don't believe that you're someone that if you lived in those days, that you could have just slept through it. You could have shut your alarm clock off when everyone else was getting up and getting out of there. Don't believe that you're someone that could have did that, and then when you woke up at like 1 in the afternoon and you come out stretching and yawning and you looked around and everybody was gone. Don't believe that you're someone that could have done that and said, oh, I'm late, and hold on, let me grab my bags and let me take out all by yourself. You ain't coming. It's just like the bus stop analogy. The bus stop analogy is how this works. Abba Yahuwah is the bus driver. You, with your words, with your social media footprint, everything you've been declaring, you say, you scream and shout from the mountaintops that you are getting on the bus at 7 o'clock. The Most High's told you that the bus leaves at 7, and He's told you where the bus stop is, and He told you if you want to get on the bus that you have to be there at 7. If you're someone who thinks that you can show up at 8 o'clock and the bus will be there to cater to you, to accommodate you, because you were lazy, you weren't willing to go the distance, you wanted to have it your way? You can think that all you want, but the fact is, if you go there anytime after 7 o'clock, anytime after the time that the Most High told you to be there, the bus will have gone and left, and you'll be standing there looking like a fool, like a foolish virgin. You had your lamp, yeah? You were a virgin. You did the things that makes you think you're a good person. You did all kinds of stuff. That's why they'll be gnawing and gnashing of teeth. That's why they'll be saying, wait a second. Didn't I tell everybody about you? Didn't I praise your name? Didn't I cast out demons and perform miracles in your name? If you think that's all you have to do, if you think that that's the case, then that whole analogy that the Messiah told us was bullshit. He didn't mean a word of it. He was just babbling nonsense, rambling on. And people wrote it down, and now we have that in the Bible. That's what you're saying. But if you can wake up to the truth, if you can wake up and smell the coffee and not hit the snooze button, if you can do that, you'll know that he told you that for a reason. Yes, you're supposed to be a virgin. Yes, you're supposed to, not literally, no. Yes, you're supposed to be, have your lamp. Yes, you're supposed to cast out demons, praise the Most High, clean your garments, all these things. Yes, you're supposed to do that. But if you don't come out to meet the bridegroom, if you don't get your ass to the bus stop on time, you ain't getting on the bus. The bus will leave, and everyone who showed up will get to go. They'll get that reward because they actually went. They actually chose to, like a child, like a little child, act on their faith, but trust in the Most High, and they actually let the truth, the word, the Lamb, lead them. You can go to college and study to get your degree and have all the answers in your head and know everything. You could ace the test. But if you don't go to school that day and take the test, if you ain't parked in the desk when the test is handed out, prepared to take it, it don't matter how smart you are, how much you know. It doesn't matter. Because you missed the day, the time to take the test. And this test, it's not going to be handed out twice. It's not going to accommodate to your convenience. It's not going to work around your schedule. It's not. What do you have to lose in going searching for the truth of the set apart place, believing what the Most High told you all through His Word, that is where the escape is, and that you have to get on the highway and go. What do you have to lose? You have everything to lose if you don't do it. If you do it, you'll miss out on being destroyed in his wrath. You'll miss out on being destroyed in his wrath because of people that wouldn't have done it for you. If the truth of what I'm saying came to them, they'd probably leave in the middle of the night. You'd be lucky if they'd leave you a note telling you where they went. They wouldn't give a thought about how you are going to feel. That's what you stand to lose. The door, it's the bridegroom's coming. He's already out here. You already need to come and meet him. Come out to him. And the door's open, obviously. But you can take this to the bank. Prove me wrong, Mishpachah. The door won't stay open forever. The time that it shuts is coming fast. It's fastly approaching. Don't be arrogant. Don't be conceited and think that he'll open it up for you because you're better than other people, or you do this and you don't do that. I hope you do. I'm going to keep proclaiming it, because you won't come to tell me that there's something better that I should be talking about. You ain't going to do that. But even if you did, if you really hungered and thirst for the truth like that, and it compelled you to come tell me, you'd see that there's nothing else to talk about. There is no other message. We should know what it is we're supposed to do. You don't get a trophy for participation. Well, in today's society you might, but you know how phony and pathetic that is. The Torah, the commandments, that's the first order of business. We've been known that that's what we must do. You don't get a reward for just doing what everyone should do. Do you have to do it? Yeah. But you don't get to do it and then sit on your butt and expect to be raptured up out of here when all hell breaks loose. You gotta walk towards the promised land just like everyone else. And you can't stop halfway there because you're afraid. If you do that, you won't ever make it. Just like Moses, just like whoever it was that didn't get to cross the Jordan. You gotta cross it. You gotta go the distance. You gotta be led wherever he leads you. And if you don't, you're just led astray. If you think you're qualified or worthy to get another shot, another crack at meeting the bridegroom, at taking this test, because you're holier than thou. Led astray doesn't do what you actually are any justice. There needs to be another term created for you. You're suicidal. You're not who you claim to be. You're not who you think you are. You're delusional. You don't love the Most High with all your strength and all your might, even though you think you do. You tell people you do. You love Him with all the strength and all the might you have up until a certain point, but once you get to that point, you ain't crossing that line. You love Him with 80%, 90%, 70% of your strength and your might. It's just the facts, Mr. Cuff. Come, let's reason together and try to prove me wrong. Come and get to know me and know that I would never say that because I think I know more than you, or that I'm smarter than you. If I didn't say the things I'm saying, I'd be numero uno scumbag. Having known this message, seen this message, been told this message from the Most High and the Lamb. If I didn't do all I could, I'm not doing enough. I'm gonna, hopefully I can do a lot more. But if I didn't relay the memo, I'd be a scumbag, but apparently I'd be okay in your book. I'd be someone you could associate with in public. You could associate in public with the number one scumbag. Wow. Come prove me wrong, Mishbaka. Hope you do. These out.